our brand new podcast. Michelle, aren't you excited?
I'm very excited.
I am your host, Kathleen Diaz, and the producer of this podcast is Michelle Noland. It is amazing what you and your department is doing in this room. You know, you're not able to see this, everything that's here, but we have lighting and cameras, and we have these new seats that are going to be for the podcast that we're starting. So thank you, Michelle, very, very much for all your help and support.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. I'm just excited to learn some new stuff today.
Yeah, and you know, Michelle, it's something very interesting because what we're about to start, it's related to money. As some of you know, I do work in the finance area of the church, and it is exciting to me to be able to share a little bit of what I have learned throughout the years. I'm not an expert in every topic, and it doesn't mean that I have the answer of every little detail financial related, but I do have great collaborators that are going to be helping us in this podcast. And Michelle, have you ever struggled trying to figure out a budget?
All the time, every month probably.
I think that is something common, right? That a lot of us have gone through and saying, hey, you know, what do I need to budget for? Should I just get my pay stub and spend everything? And then some of us have also encountered some financial struggles when unexpected events happen in our lives. And because of that, you know, we've put together a podcast that will be a blessing to many. And the title of this podcast is Save It, Spend It, Share It. Are you ready to take control of your money and build your future and make a difference in the world? Well, then you are at the right place. This podcast is going to explore practical ways to manage your money, make thoughtful spending decisions, and create a meaningful impact by sharing your resources. And I am thrilled to have you here as we dive into today's episode. This is going to be a short episode because we just want to give you a preview of what this podcast is going to be about. And let me share with you a text that I found. In Ecclesiastes 9:10, it says, "Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. For the realm of the dead, where you are going, there is neither working, nor planning, nor knowledge, nor wisdom." I like this phrase because I think we are living in a moment that we do not like thinking that we're going to die. It seems that maybe a couple of years ago, I was thinking that I was going to live, you know, through eternity maybe. And then I started thinking, well, how am I preparing financially? Most of us don't plan for that moment, right, Michelle? Sometimes we think that retirement will never come.
Yeah, especially for younger people.
Yeah, it seems like retirement? Oh, that's so much into the future. You know, I remember when I got my first job, maybe in my 20s, the word retirement was not even in my mind. And I think that happens to many, many young kids that are coming out of college. They need to hear what should they expect now going into the working period of their life. So that's why I like this phrase, because it's basically telling us, you know, whatever you're planning, do it right now. This is the moment that you have to plan your life. This is the moment for you to gain knowledge, because one day you're not going to need that knowledge anymore. So how are we planning our life? And, you know, we're just trying to explore different topics. For example, saving smarter. Learn the simple strategies. There's many books out there. So we're trying to bring some of that knowledge into this podcast of how we can give you tips that will help you thrive in a successful financial state. How can you prepare for the unexpected? You know, that is very difficult to plan, but a lot of us go through health challenges, go through a loss of income, go through maybe it's not that unexpected, but we all encounter sometimes having kids. and kids come in, and how are you going to prepare for their future? All of these things are going to be topics that we're going to be discussing in this podcast. Also, investing. What are you doing with your money right now? In the Bible, there is an example about someone that took their money basically and cover it so that way it wouldn't be wasted. And there's some other that went ahead and duplicate. So are we actually doing something with our investing? And what is a healthy way of investing? We also want to make sure that we get the knowledge so we can make decisions based on facts and not just on opinions that we hear over different conversations. Spending wisely. Wow, Michelle, I don't know what about you, but during Christmas, I think this phrase, it's not in our minds.
No.
How many times at Christmas time, we're just spending. And I try sometimes to keep it to a minimum, but it's just, I don't know why. Maybe because it's the end of the year. It's just very difficult to avoid spending. I don't know if it's only me or if it happens to everyone.
No, we just love people so much. We want to give them what they want.
That's right.
Even if we don't have it.
That's right. Sometimes even if we don't have it. So how can we prepare for that moment? If we love giving gifts, let's have a plan in January, not in December, where we're trying to get the funds to cover all those expenses. So we're going to give you tips on how can we spend wisely. And then another important thing is, in the Bible, it says, well, treat others how you want them to treat you. And how are we treating those that are around us? We're not talking only for our immediate family, but we're talking maybe about a neighbor, maybe about someone we encounter. Same thing in December, we kind of hear all those amazing stories, right? Where we see someone paying it forward, we see people being very generous, but what about throughout the year? How are we using our resources to help those that are around us in our community, people that we encounter? Is there an actual healthy way of helping those around us? We're going to try to explore this topic. And each topic will feature expert advice. As you can see here, I have 2 empty chairs because the purpose of this podcast, it's not only me talking and Michelle, we're not going to be the ones doing the whole podcast. We want some participation that we can bring from our collaborators that will bring us the insight and those tips that we need to know about. We'll keep it real. We'll keep it funny as much as we can and easy to understand. We want to give you what you need to hear, not the whole theory behind it. Maybe that's the part that you've been encountering many, many times. So we want to, move past that, and we just want to be giving you a glimpse of what you need to hear. We're going to keep the podcast maybe somewhere around 15 minutes. It's not going to be a long podcast. Maybe there will be topics that we go a little bit deeper into, but most of our podcasts are going to be somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes. So if you can give us that amount of time once a month, then go ahead and follow us because we want you to be part of the podcast. Managing money, it doesn't have to be stressful. I know that most of the time it is. But at the same time, money can be empowering. It can be something that we're in control and actually works for us. And that's what our goal is going to be. So why wait? Subscribe today to our Save It, Spend It, Share It as your favorite podcast so you can have us saved in your podcast list. And don't forget, you also want to make sure to follow us on social media for more financial inspiration. Thank you very much for being part of this project. Michelle, I'm very excited to start this podcast. Thank you once again for helping us put all this together. And, let's roll out this new podcast because money matters and so does what you do with it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.